Today I'll be making enchilada pie made with ground turkey meat. It's really simple, only a small amount of things will actually go into this recipe. You would need corn tortillas, ground turkey meat, or beef, it can be switched out, shredded cheese, and then the ingredients to make the actual sauce. These will be onions, garlic, tomato sauce, and I'm using up some tomatoes and green chilies and some diced tomatoes. I'm going to add on to that because I already had in the fridge. This is a Tex-Mex recipe. My mother is originally from Texas, even though she raised me in Kentucky. So this is just one of her small little recipes that she used to put together for me when I was younger. So let's begin with making the sauce. Into a personal blender or a conventional blender, depending on how much of this you decide to make. I'm making a small pan for me and my husband. The children are away tonight. So first you add your tomatoes or your tomato sauce, whatever you're wanting to use for this. We usually use canned. I've never used fresh tomatoes. So it could be good, it could be bad. I don't know. You just have to experiment with it on your own. Go ahead and blend up all of your tomato mixture. I did make a little extra because I wanted to make some cauliflower rice with mine. So I'm going to pour out the excessive amount and put it to the side. You want to have it at least about 3/4 the way full, because when you add your onion and your garlic, it's going to take up the rest of the space. Half an onion, then on 1/2 of it, clean it up and quarter it. Once your onion is cleaned up and quartered, go ahead and add it to your tomato sauce. Then add garlic. I would not omit this. It doesn't taste right without the garlic and the onion. It would just be tomatoes. That's all it would taste like. So go ahead and add your blades to your blender and then grind all of that up and make sure all of the onion is gone, because you don't want to bite into a unblended piece of onion. It's not pretty. I forgot to mention that we do add flour into this tomato mixture in order to thicken it. I'm using a gluten-free flour because I eat gluten-free due to a food allergy. So you can do it with gluten-free all-purpose flour or regular all-purpose flour. Just add it in, and you're going to use this as a thickening agent. So put your blender back together and go ahead and puree that really well. Next, you'll want to brown your turkey meat and season it at this moment. I like to use this seasoning right here. It's a season all for everything that I cook. Burgers, chicken, all of it. So I'll put that on it and I will brown it using my little chop and stir. This thing is a lifesaver if you do not own one. And we'll just let that go ahead and cook up. Now the turkey meat is browned. I had forgot to mention that while this was frying, you could have added onions, garlic, pepper, even tomatoes, any add-in that you would find that would be nice flavoring within your filling. I didn't add any because I kind of feel that when I do, the onions that I add within here is overpowering with the sauce that I use that has as much onions as what it does in it. But you could have. I like to take and transfer it over into a separate bowl, which makes more room on my counter to assemble the actual little pie that I like to make. So at this time, you would want to preheat your oven for 400 degrees, and we're going to assemble the actual corn tortillas. So in a skillet, you want to put about, I say about 1/2 inch of oil, because we're just going to like fry them a little bit. And in a pan, mine's about a 9x9 or an 8x8. I'm honestly not sure how big this pan is, but I do know it's small. And since we will be layering it in a pie sort of way, we just call it a pie. I'm not sure why we call it a pie. But you would need to pour your sauce out in the bottom, because you don't want the bottom of it to be dry. If it's real dry, it'll be burnt, and that's never any fun. So while you're waiting for your oil to get hot, go ahead and spread your sauce here on the bottom. That will help with your tortillas too, keep them from sticky. So that's just enough to cover the bottom of the pan and to keep it from burning and to keep your tortillas from sticking. Okay, so my oil is definitely hot. So you just take your tortilla, you set it down in it. Fry it quickly on each side. Be sure to turn your oil down once you do get it hot enough. You don't want it to where it's crunchy. You just want it lightly fried. Layer that. Then return with your other tortilla. And I'm going to lay probably 4 down in here. The rest of the assembly for this layer right here would be meat. Now, if you're making traditional, well, more of a traditional Tex-Mex actual enchiladas, everything here is basically still the same. Instead, you would roll individually each one of these with a little bit of meat and some cheese filling, just like this right here. But you would be rolling it. So, as I said, you would add cheese next, and then you would add another layer of tortillas. Now with this layer, I like to add another layer of sauce. Just kind of like fill it up. That way it'll be wet and not dried out. So let's go ahead and do this. Now if you was making it to the traditional way my mother likes to make it, you would take and dip your tortilla in the sauce, put meat and cheese, and roll it up. And then set it inside your pan. And whatever sauce you had left over, you would pour on top of everything. So, scoop a little bit of that up. There we go. Next, you would go ahead and you'd put the rest of the meat. Sometimes I do another layer of tortillas, but today I'm not going to. I'm just going to go ahead and just leave it with the meat layer on top. And then put some more cheese on top of that. Like so. Now we like to cover this in, because I'm country and we'll call it what we call it, tin foil. Because aluminum foil is hard to pronounce with my accent. So next, that's what you would do. You would cover this with tin foil. Bake at 400 degrees for 20 to 25 minutes. Just long enough for the cheese to melt and for the sauce to be bubbly. As for the leftover sauce, I usually save it because you can heat it up and eat it as a dip with tacos, burritos, or even put it in a skillet with a tiny bit of oil and fry you in it. And add cheese to the middle, making a small quesadilla. So it will work with most things. I've never tried using it within fried rice or fried cauliflower. However, it's an ideal. But so you don't have to throw the sauce out. You haven't wasted anything. It can be used later for more things. Once the timer goes off, you can remove the tin foil. And if you like, you can put it back in the oven and let it brown some of this right here. Or you can just let it sit for about 15 minutes and then go ahead and eat. You can eat it alone, or you can pair it with your favorite fried rice or fried cauliflower, tortilla chips, and a salad. Thank you for watching.